Whether you're a total beginner and you're just starting to learn a language, or you are looking to get more consistent, I'm gonna share some tips that really helped me with my language learning journey, and I hope they can help you too. Plus, at the end, I will give you some insights on my own learning journey. So my first tip is to break down your progress into mini goals or just goals. I think using apps like Notion to get on track with your learning could be really helpful. Plus there are like already made templates for language learning. But yeah, you have to break down your learning into achievable goals. For example, practicing your target language for 15 minutes today, or learning 10 new words in a day in this language. It's helpful, and that's what I do, because if you don't do this little by little, you're just gonna quit. Eventually you're just gonna quit, and we want to reach fluency in the language. I think that's the goal. So yeah. So my tip number 2 is to practice the language acquisition method. So basically that's how kids learn languages. For the first year or the first 2 years, the child is not gonna talk a lot. They're just more gonna, absorb the language and like listen to the language, immerse themselves into the language. And so then they're gonna talk how they can with the words that they, the words and the grammar that I learned. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be how we all learn languages. So that's basically the input and output method. The input is everything that you get from passive learning. Basically, it's like passive learning. And the output is the practice of the language. The third tip is to create routines around your learning. Like finding the time to learn a language can be really tricky, but if you can create routines around your language learning, you're a winner. So you have to find a way to incorporate the language into your daily life. You can study grammar over breakfast, or if you do your sports with YouTube videos, you can do it in your target language. If you are really into journaling, you can do it in your target language. Tip number 4 is to use spaced repetition. So what is it? Spaced repetition is basically the method where you just review things every now and then. Like you have like a period of time where you learn some new things and then you review them, and then you learn new things and then you review all of it. Basically how school system works, but you can do it better than them. And I use Quizlet to learn through spaced repetition. Before I used school, actually, it was my spaced repetition learning, but now it's, it's just Quizlet and myself. Tip number 5, make learning fun. Because if you want to learn languages, it's a choice, right? So it should be fun. Everything that is a choice in your life, you have to set intention and to make it more fun. For example, start a YouTube channel in your target language, just as me. Well, English is not a language that I'm learning currently, but it's not my mother tongue, and so I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to practice, it's really important. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because I'm not perfect. I make a ton of mistakes in English in my videos, but you know what? I don't really care. So yeah, find ways to make it fun. If you have passions, incorporate your target language into your passions. And find language partners. That's how I literally perfected my English a few years ago. That's how I got fluent in Spanish. And whatever language I'm getting myself into, I just try to meet new friends so I can meet new people and at the same time practice the language with them and learn the culture and everything. It's so fun. Basically, that's one way of making learning fun. Tip number 6. Okay, A lot of people recommend watching movies and series to learn languages, but personally, I didn't do this. And I don't use Netflix or things like that for learning languages, because the way I learn languages and the way I get fluent in languages basically is through watching my favorite content creators on YouTube. So make yourself a list of content creators, or browse into the whole YouTube space to find your new creators to follow, because this is how I do it. Why? Because movies and series, it's too long for me. Even in my language, even in English, I barely can sit through a series or even a movie. I do sometimes, but I don't do this as often, while I watch YouTube videos every day. Like, I think there's not one single day where I don't watch YouTube videos. So to me, this is the way, this is the way, watching also like Instagram Reels in your target language, TikToks in your target language. That's the way to make your brain get used to the language. I am currently fluent in French, English, and Spanish. So I still struggle to this day in Spanish. So yeah, I learned Spanish at school for 4 years, and then I quit, and then I went back this year, and in 6 months I got fluent. Got my Spanish back. English, I've learned English basically my whole life. I think I started learning English in kindergarten. So I started Spanish when I was like 13. Then I started learning Indonesian, Italian, and Portuguese. I quit learning Italian and Portuguese, and I started to learn Chinese also when I was 15 in school. And I quit because the teacher was so freaking bad. Right now I'm focusing on Indonesian and on, for Spanish, it's more like language acquisition. It's like, leaving it to decide and practicing it, but like in a more passive way. And for Indonesian, it's like really active. And I have a lot of plans for future languages. And so I will make other videos about it. So yeah, I hope this video helped you. And I wish you the best if you're learning a language. So yeah, I'll see you next week. All right, bye.